we thought we'll give you a little bit of an overview of working Pasifika. What does that look like here in Okilangi in Auckland? We also thought we're going to explore a little bit about pracademics, which is, Iani's really passionate about it. So it relates to pracademic, which is different to academic. So that's, Iani's going to share a little bit about that. And also looking at the different pathways. There is pathways into the trades, and there are those traditional pathways which are into higher tertiary learning, which is the more traditional. I'm going to share something really exciting. There's a research, I keep talking about it, but for the last two years, 4 ITOs have gone through a research called the Pacific Learner Success in Workplace Settings. So I'll be sharing some of the findings from that. It's yet to be published, so it's not out yet. So I'll just share a little bit of insight into some of the findings from that. So that's our plan for today. Iani and I work for ServiceIQ, so we cover all those trades. We cover the service industries, and that's why I'm dressed up in this beautiful outfit, the chefs. And so Iani covers his industries. So there's more of us. There's not just Competenz, but there is 11 industry training organisations across the country.
And wherever we are, we would support one another. So while the two of us might be presenting and representing ITOs, we also represent all our colleagues from the other ITOs in the room. Got a Trade, of course, is a brand that many of you may have seen, that attempt by collective ITOs to increase the awareness and get people talking about trade survival options for young people. And from our perspective, for Pasifika and Māori. Yeah, we do work with the trainees, we do work with the providers. So we've got Welltech, Wintech, MIT here, and we work right alongside employers and industry. And in the very centre of all of that is the learner. It's not about the bum that sits on the seat, it's the learner. And that's where we work together as collaborative approaches and that kind of work.
So within the industry training organisation, we do have LLN, which is really important. So I've just wanted to highlight that ServiceIQ that we've launched our literacy and numeracy strategy, which was launched last week. So this is all available online. We also, Competenz have their resource person here. So it is important across the industry training organisations to have our specialists in the organisation to advise, and also to advise the employers, and also to help trainees who may have difficulty in reading, writing, and also some numeracy. Need to develop that.
I spoke to a group of young people last night out at college, and many of them who are destined to go to university, and many of them who are destined to go to polytechs. This whole thing around Pacific students, Pacific young people, they're thinking that tertiary education means university, it means polytech, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That is fantastic. I gave them the example of 2 people that I know who are mechanical engineers. One is currently doing an apprenticeship. The other has a Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering. They're both doing the same job. In fact, they're both getting the same pay. But here's the difference. The young person doing the apprenticeship went straight from school into that job. The one young person that's got the Bachelor of Engineering went from school to university and got himself a really nice $45,000, $47,000 student loan. They're both working, both getting the same pay. The young person that's doing the apprenticeship is putting his money aside. The young person that's got a Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering degree has to repay that student loan first. So already the young person that's come straight out of school into the job, into the apprenticeship, is moving ahead. And that's what we refer to as the practical academic.
This is the research that we've been doing for 2 years. So for the last 2 years, there's been 4 ITOs. There's been Career Force, Competenz, us, ServiceIQ, and also the Skills Org. So for the last 2 years, we've been part of this research, which we are so grateful that it's been sponsored by Ako Aotearoa. So we went in, we thought we'll set up some, so part of the research involves study groups. It involved learner-focused training. It also involved some 12-week evening classes for trainees. And we wanted to focus on 2 interventions. I've got a little bit of a cold, so I expect my voice to break up. So one of the interventions was mentoring. We want to see how that's done in the workplace. And the second one was study groups. So we set that up. So from the research that's going to be coming out soon, we're just signing it off, they've collected the stories of they collected the learner voice, which are the Pacific people who are in training, who are in the workplaces. So we picked up the Pacific learners. We've also collected the voices of trainees, those who are either the mentors or those who are the facilitators for the study groups. So, and also they collected our voice, which is the industry training organisation. So I've just only selected just the main thing. We've looked at the barriers and we're looking at some of the successes. So we're going to look at the learners, and these are some of what's come out of the research, and Iani's going to read the quote's already there. So one of the key findings, so for learners that are working in the workplace, some of the barriers was that the priority of learning, work and family. So for workers, they go to work and then they have to find time either in the workplace or in their home life to try and complete their work, their workbooks. And sometimes the workplaces don't provide a study group, because work is work, and some industries do give some time aside, but it may not be within work time. It could be either before they start work or when they finish work. So it could be a cluster of learners that can meet to support each other. And this is a quote from one of those learners, and they see that when they're studying at home, they get a bit stuck, and it's only going to and it's only a short focus, and then because there's so many things happening at home, they just decide to give up. So those are one of the barriers. They're trying to find a place where they can learn and complete, and also I know for Pacific sometimes they need to talk to each other in terms of what's going through some of the stuff in the workbook. The other barrier for learners is that they're not aware of the opportunity to learn in workplaces. An example for this one, they think that when you get a job and you're probably, for example, working in retail, but they don't realise that there is progression within that company. They don't realise that there are opportunities. Not only can you work in the warehouse, but there could be opportunities for you to go to be a team leader, or there could be opportunities there for you to become a manager or a training. So with those learners, some of them are not aware of those opportunities. And so that's a quote. I can see that there are a few people who get opportunities like this, but this person's really grateful, and thank God there will be opportunities for training in the workplace. And that's where Iani and myself and the other, 9 or 10 ITOs, because that's what we do. It's about qualifications and it's about trainees in the workplace. So that's their opportunity to learn and to gain their quals while they're working. Some of the success, what's come through from the research, it's not enough to have a generic book in retail and make that fit for all retail industry. It's all about context, because what happens in one industry is really different. It could be the same industry, you could be doing the same kind of work, but the context is really different. So what happens in Placemaker in Mount Wellington is really different to what happens in Office Max. Even though the business and the skills are the same, it's about context. And also each business is really different, and we found from the research the complexity of how diverse and how different industry are. And so that's something that we're always trying to navigate, finding the right time to meet our trainees, finding the right time to meet the employers. So workplace context is really important, and also relationship with the mentors in the workplace, or the relationship with the people, the facilitators who are facilitating the study groups. So those relationships are also successful indicators for learners to be successful. Okay, the next voice is the learning support role. So these are the mentors, and these are those who are facilitating study groups. So one of their barriers is sometimes the learning resources this is where the literacy and numeracy stuff comes in. So sometimes the material that when trainees get, when they sign up, we sign them up and they get a training book. And sometimes the language that's used in the workbooks is really difficult. It's a real barrier, especially for those who are mentoring, who are supporting workers, and for those who are facilitators in a study group. And if they have difficulty understanding the language, understanding the meaning, of what's in the book, then it'll be a barrier for them to actually support other learners and mentor others.